So you can see here I've completed the connection between tan 170 in that it's minus the tan of 180 minus 175. So it's minus tan, do your calculation, 180 minus 175 and you'll get 5. Now, you could double check with your calculator. You can simply put on your calculator tan 175 and you'll get this answer. Or if you just simply do tan of 5, you'll see the answer comes up positive. You would know that it is, if you had tan 175 and a negative answer, you'd need to put a negative in front of this in order to make them equal. Questions don't so much ask you for this result here. They more or less just ask you for the connection between the obtuse angle and the corresponding acute angle. So they're really wanting you to just stop here. Cos, you can do the same. Cos of this isn't minus cos of the acute angle. And do your calculation, 180 minus that angle. Use your calculator, your degrees, minutes and seconds button to come up with that result of 50 degrees 3 seconds. And like I said, most questions just require you to go that far without actually finding the trig ratio value. If you're wanting to check whether your answer is correct, you can do that by using your calculator. And of course, sine of an obtuse angle would be sine of the 180 minus that to give you the acute angle. So not so any problems really there. However, in questions where you're asked to find the actual angle and you're told that the angle is obtuse, now there is no problem with cos and your calculator. If you know that cos of the angle is a negative, so onto your calculator you'll put theta is cos inverse that angle. Now let me see if I can drag this so that you can see it. So you can see I've got cos inverse of the negative, and already and automatically the calculator is telling you it's 104.86. So the calculator understands and gives you an obtuse sized angle. Fantastic. 104.86. 104.86 degrees. However, with a question that says that or you're given that tan theta is negative 6 on 11, the moment you see that, stop and register it. It's asking you to find theta, however, the tan ratio is a negative. We know that our answer should be an obtuse sized angle. Now, there's a lot of value for you in stopping and looking at the question and realizing that before you ever touch your calculator. Because when you go to your calculator and you do tan inverse negative 6 on 11, as you can see from the calculator here, it's bringing up this answer negative 28. If you jump straight in and write that down, then it's incorrect. However, this is what your calculator will say. You have to know the next step. So we know ourselves that this has to be obtuse. That theta has to be obtuse. Theta has to be obtuse. That means it has to be a number between 90 and 180. You can see your calculator's giving you this unusual negative angle. So we would take that negative angle, and our understanding of it is that has to be, the negative tells you to take that away from 180. I'm just going to see if I can say add 180, and yes, it did work. So all I simply did to that negative answer that was on there was add 180, and it tells us that now it gives me what I'm looking for, and I knew to look for. it tells me that its theta is 151 degrees. So we will have a problem when we're trying to find an angle and the tan is a negative ratio, which means the angle is obtuse. We will have a problem with the way the calculator presents us the answer initially, and if we don't make the adjustment by adding this 180 as is here, then we won't be giving the correct answer. We'll have a similar problem with the sine ratio. If we are told we need to get an obtuse angle, and we simply go straight into theta is the sine inverse 0.7890. We know that there could be two possible answers. We saw that back in the table at the beginning of this exercise. Your calculator will only give you the acute angle. So you'll need to consider the obtuse angle. Because theta has to be obtuse, then theta will be 180. Let me get the calculator up. There you can see the calculator says that theta is, I'll just write it as 52. Theta is 52. Clearly not obtuse. It's not a number between 90 and 180. How do I get the obtuse angle? I make the connection, or I use the property we've established in this exercise that there's a connection between theta and 180 minus theta. So 180 minus 52 gives me 128. And we now have the obtuse angle. You should be right to do exercise 503. Be careful with some of these earlier questions, and make a note of any that you have trouble with and ask me about in class.